and welcome to What the Flicks reviews of The Walking Dead. Today we're talking about Season 6, Episode 7, Heads Up. We find out the fate of Glenn finally, and I should tell you, this should not be said, but full spoilers to follow.
Yes,
Maybe.
lots of spoilers. Hopefully
the
thumbnail was okay.
I've never been in charge of that, and never once did that. So
No one's
just
accusing
so
you, Kim.
Anyway, I'm joined by Tim Frisch, Francis Maxwell, I'm Kim Horcher. Who wants to do a quick recap of the episode?
Glenn's alive.
Yes. Thanks,
So
Francis.
we see the fate of Glenn. It was as some predicted. Nicholas was being eaten, not Glenn. He managed to hide under a dumpster, make himself a little bit of barrier with dead walkers, and then inexplicably the walkers wander away after an indeterminate period of time.
They did break their own walker rules.
Yes.
We do discover that Enid has been around. Perhaps she lets
got
some of them away.
She's got a secret base right there next to that spot.
It's not entirely clear whether she had a hand in like leading some of them away, distracting them. They were looking around.
Possible, probable.
I don't know. Maybe. We also go back to the camp and see an improbable idiot move from Spencer.
Yep.
And Rick reinforces his kind of like everyone who's not one of us doesn't really matter, with the exception of Deanna and the reverse exception of Gabriel.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. He also reinforces a wall.
Yes.
Reinforces.
Whilst ignoring a massive crack in the tower.
Yes, so anyone along the watchtower would find that the watchtower has fallen down by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
We also have Glenn escorting Enid back to what he calls home. And Maggie rightly senses that it's Glenn out there waiting for her.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a couple of flaws. To go back to the Glenn thing, I don't really mind. Like, I know we talked about, there was an article I read by the New York Post where they said that The Walking Dead blew it by allowing him to stay alive, because it just completely disregards.
I think this was an unwinnable situation.
Yeah, it was. So people were complaining when he died, crying bloody murder, and then when he survived, people still were complaining, saying that's ridiculous. And that was naturally going to happen. It doesn't bother me either way. That's not where my problems with the show comes in. And I'm trying to take a lighter view on it. But if, like, when you watch it back and he falls, like you need to do something to show that he can get to the dumpster, because he didn't fall right underneath it. Like, they fell out the way. His head was right in the middle of the walkers, but then when it comes back to the next scene, he's right next to the dumpster. So, like, logistically, they could have made it a little bit better, his exit strategy. I think that if you're watching the show and you're taking in these details, that was a big flaw for me. But apart from that, it's like there's just some common things that you just are so obvious in the show right now that they're making even more obvious to you. Like for the scene where they consistently show the cracks, but then they don't show anyone trying to address that cracks. Mm-hmm. That for me is just like, okay, well, you're obviously taking light of the details that are coming in. You notice a tiny little bit of blood down the side of a hole, but you're not taking care of a massive crack on the tower.
And my counter argument to that would be the cracks and the blood dripping are more symbolic than actual structural problems. The wall did hold. A building fell on it, so that was a problem. But the crack itself didn't really amount to anything. My whole problem with Glenn is that they wrote themselves into a corner. Mm-hmm. They wanted that big, visceral, cliffhanger. They wanted that moment where we all gasp and, no, Glenn, no, but they didn't want to actually pull the trigger on it, so they had to write themselves out of it. They needed to break their own rules to do so, and it was shoddy. It didn't work.
They also kind of underestimated how quickly fans could figure it out, because I think many people were saying exactly that. That's Nicholas's guts. He crawls under the dumpster. It's improbable, but he makes it, and that's precisely what happened. We have... also the Talking Dead didn't do the show any favors, because now anytime a major character dies, if they don't appear in the Talking Dead, we'll assume that it's fine.
And they try to play into their own tricks by taking them out of the credits, remember? In the next episode. They try to kind of be part of this big prank when everyone was like, I mean, if you're going to do it, then do it convincingly. You don't need to lead us into this at this point. Like, the fans of the show are obviously aware that people are going to die. And, like, some of your favorites are going to die.
But see, that's the thing. I think they've undermined themselves. They wanted that big visceral reaction from us, but by not going through with it, by protecting Glenn, that takes all the the consequence, all the weight off of these moments, because now we don't honestly believe that anyone important will die. The stakes are way lower now.
Well, what if they shock us with the mid-season finale?
Maybe.
And do that just
Yeah.
out of nowhere. I would respect that move.
Well, they
Based
did
on
it-
the rules of the show, the town is overrun with zombies. A bunch of people should die.
Yeah.
If nobody dies after this,
Well, I thought it was going to be extremely shocking when you see the I forget his name, but grabbing bullets and walking behind Carl.
Ron, yeah.
Like that would have been shocking to me. Not if Carl.
Kids from that family not doing well.
I
in
know
this
they're not.
episode.
No.
But what happens if that
I
was
blame
the case?
Carol.
Yeah. That's
Could you
that
ever
scene-
give a small, scared child worse advice? Like, the only
have to
way to
kill
not
and be a
become a
mon-
monster is to kill.
Carol is
Yeah,
so good.
it was a little bit heavy-handed, but
Yeah.
she got it. She took that beat.
That's gonna
That
blow up in somebody's
probably
face,
makes
though.
her, rethink a few things in the next episode. Could turn out badly for her. Could turn out well. Probably will turn out badly.
No, that's the thing is you don't like. That's one thing that I liked about the suspense about the show. Like it does have that very twisted side that it can take. I mean, we remember back to the episodes with Carol, the two girls, and Tyrese. Like that was just some of the most shocking television I've ever seen in my life. But it worked in that environment because you can't control what kids think in this environment. Like this young kid, he needs to find a way in his head to try and understand what's going on. He can't tell the difference between the walkers and the wolves that came in and killed people. That was the kind of symbolic side to that. So for all he knows, someone could come in that might be holding a gun and he could kill someone by basically not really knowing who to defend against. And that's kind of the ironic part. And same with his older brother. He doesn't see the walkers as enemies. He sees the guy who killed his dad and his son as his enemy. So that's an interesting storyline. So I like to see where they take that and go forward with it. That's where I think they're still keeping hold of me as a viewer at that point.
Another thing that seems to be setting up right now is at the beginning of the episode when we saw Morgan get chastised by Rick, Michonne, Carol. Who else was there? One other person.
I think it was Rick, Michonne, and Carol.
Saying, you can't keep up with this strategy.
Yeah.
It sounds nice, but it's not realistic. You're going to have to kill, blah, blah, blah. That certainly seems like it'll be coming up in the next episode. And Morgan's got someone hidden in a cell somewhere.
Yeah.
Who does he have?
He has the wolf.
The wolf leader.
The
The
wolf
wolf?
leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has
Okay,
the wolf.
thank you. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he has the wolf leader
And
now.
now
Carol's-
maybe Carol knows.
And then
Carol
Carol
knows,
will
but
be
that's what we're
like,
saying. Yeah, well, Carol's been kind of out to basically question Morgan's motives since the wolves were attacking, burning people alive, being ruthless, and he didn't want to take the actions. And then I was actually interested that Rick called him out on it because he directly faced the repercussions of it. So you might have thought Rick might have just come back to Alexandria and just kind of went about it and try to focus on other things. But no, he wants to follow up with Morgan because I think he does see him as so crucial to the group. But if he's not going to get the job done, then of course it's going to come back to bite him. So he had to address that. I like that situation. It's kind of like a funny interrogation.
Yeah, no, I like that scene, that little peer review that they had.
Yeah.
I mean, so many times in shows you get frustrated with the characters not communicating with each
Yeah.
other. It's like you're leaving out this vital information that would really help someone. Like
Yeah.
you have to lay all the cards on the table. And here they are, like talking like adults.
Yeah.
About the problem that we have with you and
Like-
what's going on, and you need to know the consequences because that happened.
Like the
Morgan.
reverse of a police interrogation room. Like not asking if you killed, so like you're wanting them to. Did you
Why
kill him?
aren't you killing
Why are
people?
you not killing these
Killing more
people?
people.
And I think it goes in a really good contrast with the episode prior,
Yes.
where Daryl returns to the three questions. How many, you
yeah.
kill walkers, have you killed people, and why? Like, it used to be that killing people was like a really big determinant in like personality, and now with Rick, it's commonplace.
Yeah, I think that
And essential.
I think like there is some flaws. Don't get me wrong. I just kind of overlooked the Glenn point just to try and enjoy the episode. But I do like that this whole season now. I think from this point on is going to take forward of Rick's development or coming back to a character. Like the little conversations with the Alexandria guide. It was like, I mean, when you first came in, you were really scary. You had the bushy beard. Like the way you looked at us,
Yeah,
like you
beards
were
are scary.
Yeah, he did have a scary beard. The way he was constantly analyzing his exit strategy, sort of thing. Like we walked into a room and he was just consistently paranoid. It seems like now he's fighting against his own willingness to accept these people. Like he's shouting at Tara. She gave him that. That was amazing. That when she just flipped him off, she's like I'm helping people because instinctively I still want to help people. Whereas Rick, and most of the time that we've seen him instinctively will help his own, but he will actually second guess whether to help someone in a situation, whether or not they are just a human or not. It's based on how they fit.
Expendable. That's how he
Yeah,
outside
exactly.
his group, and he did reinforce that this week. However, that was a very stupid move.
Oh my God.
Ridiculously dumb.
what
He
is he
should
doing?
not have done that.
Oh, the grappling hook?
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about?
So dumb. I feel like, why?
And the funny thing is that it was so stupid of a scene, but it plays with these people. Like, this is what I'm saying. It does play because they consistently will make stupid actions because they don't know what to do. So, like, it's not like I was complaining. I said to my girlfriend, I was watching, I was like, it seems like they're trying ways to claw some acts of intensity that we used to get, but at the same time, it works with the Alexandrian group because realistically, they don't know how to live in this world, so they will make stupid actions like this.
Our people make stupid actions too, though.
Yeah, sometimes,
this happens a lot.
It does. But I just, in the last episode, it was really bad when the girl lay down next to the people. It was like, that was so obviously bad. Like, I felt like in this episode, I'm trying to take the light on. No, okay, I could see this happening. I could see why he wanted to help because he's struggling with himself. He doesn't know how to deal with the situation. I mean, he's still stealing on his own, but he's trying to help some way. But it was just a ridiculous move. So stupid.
Did you guys catch the unintentional shade that Maggie threw to Rick?
What'd she do?
She takes the baby and she's like, wow, she's really starting to look like Lori.
Oh.
Like,
Who's the baby's daddy?
Yeah, that's a little line for the audience to appreciate.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up, Tim.
It was my favorite moment of the
It was
the
pretty
episode.
good. I'm glad you reminded me.
But so what's going on with is it Enid? Yeah, it's Enid,
Enid,
right?
yeah.
Like, what's going on with her? So I'm getting.
She seems to be a bit of a loner. She's not.
emo.
I don't think she's the mole that we all suspected she might.
Right.
No, that's what and I admit to that. I think
Yeah, we messed up there.
Yeah, I think that was one point when the scene.
You especially.
Well,
messed
with
up.
that one scene where she said we, that was that one scene where she said we, right? But I
Right.
think everyone kind of assumed it was the wolves, but she meant we just as
how we got out.
Yeah, because she thinks everyone. She doesn't see anyone in different groups. That's why she's very dangerous, I think, because she doesn't see any differentiation between Rick's group, the people in Alexandria. She doesn't call anything home. So she's like living in a way to what Michonne had lived before, kind of like just living on her own and trying to get by. But she isn't afraid of death, I don't think. I think she thinks that they're all going to naturally have to die at one point.
Right. I mean, she had, assumedly, a mental break at one point when her parents were killed in front of her by walkers. And ever since then, her way of coping has been to not get close to anyone.
Yeah.
Not really, have that attachment. Because she's been on her own for so long, she's probably met up with groups before, things went south. She gets out, she survives for a while, finds another group, doesn't get attached, they get killed, and she's on her own again. So this is just part of her cycle, and she's ready to do it, and Glenn's trying to bring her back.
So what do we think in the last episode? This is my favorite part of the last predictions part.
I don't know. I'm starting to think the wolves might not be the major antagonist. Like they're more of like a small group or playing a smaller part, at least in the show.
Yeah.
I would like them to be scary badasses, but I don't know if that's actually going to pan out. We do seem to be getting set up for a very bloody episode.
Yes.
It would be very shocking to me if we didn't lose at least some moderately familiar faces.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and guess Rosita
I think Rosita might be
and
gone.
Tobin,
Yeah.
the guy helping Rick fix the wall. Because we like him now.
he's
Because he's a
nice.
friendly guy and he's
Yeah,
helping
I
bring her
think
into the fold, and that's just enough character
There's at least
development
like
to
60%
get
of the
killed.
Alexandrians are going to die. Like 60%
Yeah,
of
Spencer
them
too,
maybe.
probably.
Spencer will probably go, and then Diana
about
will have a
Eugene?
completely. I don't know, man. Like I love how
He
he.
keeps living.
I know, and he loves
For
giving
little
his-
to no reason.
I know. I love how even in the most like erratic
Open-toed
situations,
shoes.
he still like will
Francis.
word himself well.
There were people with open-toed shoes near him.
Yeah.
He is new to
that
this
was great.
highly dangerous
Yeah.
weapon.
It is thoroughly in my conscience that I will not be of assistance in this thing.
At
he-
least one of Jesse's kids,
Yeah.
Ron or Sam.
Well, Ron
Not
might.
the
I
little
think.
one.
What about
Not
Rick?
the little
has
one,
to-
you think?
Well, Ron is like, isn't he menacingly approaching Carl?
Yeah, and
he
at
has
this
the
point-
bullets. He's going to take a shot at him.
He has a gun and he has bullets. I don't know that he has much more than that.
He has a little.
Does he
know-how.
understand caliber of bullets?
Yeah.
Did we
Rick
get to
taught
that
him
lesson?
A little bit.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
know
getting-
what we
Okay.
missed.
He's getting a little trigger happy though. He wants to shoot, like he was saying, he wants to go out and shoot the walkers. So I don't know. I mean,
I think he wants to go out and
No,
shoot
he wants to
Carl.
shoot
no, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what he
Thinly
wanted to
veiled
do.
excuse. to
Yeah, I think he wanted to do it.
And to be fair, Carl was kind of a dick during
Carl
that
was
lesson.
being a
Yeah.
dick.
Why was he even there? Just to antagonize him?
Well, it's like if your
Not
dad's
smart.
helping someone, like that natural kid instinct, you want to show off that he's taught you all this stuff. It's like, oh, well,
I
he probably
already know
turns.
that.
I'm
I'm smarter than you. I'm a better kid.
I shot
That's
a
a great
submachine
way to get a
gun
bullet in
once.
the eye.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
not great.
Yeah.
So I think that's all coming up next episode.
Yeah.
I like the setup. I hope it pays off. the
Yeah,
way-
I think this episode was. I don't think it would take much to get worse than the last episode before it, and that wasn't just critical because of what happened. It was just critical because the writing was so obvious in that episode prior. Like, I thought it was one of the worst that I've seen, and just how much everything you would only have to watch the first 10 minutes and get to know those characters before actually saying what happened to them. The girl that was apparently suffering from diabetes or whatever it was at that moment, that was the most obvious scene I've ever seen in my life. In this episode, at least, they opened it a little bit more, and it still drew me in. But I'm interested to know how things are going to pan out.
Well, we will find out next week. I believe the episode title is Start to Finish, which tells us nothing. Hopefully all our groups will reconverge. There will be some hopeful battle. I'm saying hopeful a lot because I'm feeling very hopeful.
I'm sure Daryl will come flying in.
Someone's going to say something on a walkie-talkie. We're going to find out who and what.
There
I'm
might
sure
be a crossbow. Tune in next week and we'll all find out together.